Let's start with Michigan football because I think the question's very interesting today. How much trouble is Michigan football actually in? Well, yesterday that we talked about the fact that U.S. Integrity is now heavily involved in the Michigan football cheating scandal. And a lot of people said, oh, well, man, Matt Weiss was gambling. I told you on the show yesterday, I've spoken the sources today. I would slow your roll on that. I think it is a big leap. If you are a Michigan fan, an Ohio State fan, anybody else, you don't have the evidence to leap to the idea that Matt Weiss was illegally gambling on Michigan computers. I would tell you right now, I would slow down in that notion until there is hard evidence, because that is a serious crime and there needs to be serious evidence to back up that kind of allegation. Now, the thing that I thought was very interesting today was the fact that Connor Stalions, according to ABC TV in Detroit, has never filed an expense report, in his time while at Michigan, which very clearly Michigonians and Michigan fans jumped on to say that Jim Harbaugh did not know. Now, obviously, what am I going to say right now? Well, it doesn't matter if Jim Harbaugh knew. He's still responsible for the actions of his coaching staff. But the question that I have, and I guess the question I would put to you in the comments section, does it matter to you that Jim Harbaugh might not have known? Is it of relevance? Does it change the way you look at the Michigan cheating scandal? It does not change it for me. Jake, does it change it for you?
It doesn't change it for me one bit. I think that Jim Harbaugh is someone who, universally it's known that Jim is not, everyone's favorite character around the clubhouse, if you will. And I think that, Jim is someone who will do anything that he can do, to get an advantage. And I think that Jim is really in a position here where, does it matter if he knew or didn't know? Like, on some level, I guess, but ultimately this whole Michigan cheating scandal situation is no longer about whether Jim Harbaugh knew or didn't know. I mean, this is about the integrity of the game at this point. I mean, you're talking about, the Big Ten, bringing in a firm that has a single purpose in making sure that, gambling lines are secure, making sure that the integrity of the game is held up to the highest standards. So to me, this is no longer about whether Jim knew or did not know. This is about, what's next? Where are we heading in the conversation? And I think for Jim Harbaugh's legacy, that's where did he know or did he not know really truly matters. If Jim, is no longer part of this program next season, which is, kind of, where we're heading. A lot of people think that he'll either resign or maybe they fire him or whatever ends up happening, with Jim Harbaugh's job. A lot of people think he won't be there. And so when that day comes, when he's no longer at Michigan, because that day will come, I think a lot of people will look back at this situation after it's all said and done and say, there's no way you didn't know, Jim. And, regardless of what NCAA bylaws say, if you knew and you still allowed it to happen, that tells me everything that I need to know about Jim Harbaugh. And furthermore, if Jim didn't know, while his integrity on some level is still intact, I might make the case that that's worse for his legacy than if he did know. At least if you did know, you could say, yeah, I tried to do this and I failed and it's a bad look. And that's, just what I did at Michigan.
Would that be better though? I mean, I don't think that's a better look for Jim Harbaugh. The problem is, and I'm starting to hear this now more regularly from the people that we speak to about college football and our sources and insiders. And there's a lot of people who say there is growing frustration on the campus in Ann Arbor, that football's getting special treatment, that, if there was an ethics violation of this magnitude in the education department, it would never be tolerated. And I think that's ultimately what is going to get Jim Harbaugh pushed out at Michigan. I truly don't believe that the athletic director, President Ono, anybody you want to point to, I do not believe that people in charge at Michigan want to fire Jim Harbaugh. I based on what I've heard, I am of the belief that they would have Jim Harbaugh fight this tooth and nail, and they would stand right next to him while he fought it and fight with him as they've done. but there is a growing frustration at Michigan about what Jim Harbaugh is being accused of doing. The academias at the University of Michigan are not happy with the blight or the black eye. That I think that these scandals, and again, I remind you, there are 3 separate scandals working in the football department at the University of Michigan. The academias are not happy about the black eye that this has brought to Michigan University. And I think, or the University of Michigan, excuse me, I think that that's a very valid point, because I think we've seen that repeated in multiple places. I think we are hearing that exact same thing at Texas A&M. There are a lot of people in College Station that are pissed about the Jimbo buyout. I think we have seen a lot of this at Colorado, and the academics at Colorado are pissed that Deion's getting the open book that he's getting. But I think ultimately, if you win, all those problems go away. And I think that's ultimately the talking point here for Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. The guy has not won enough football games. So yeah, did he know what Connor Stalions is doing? I'll even play the game with you and say, oh no, he had no idea. And what does it matter? What does it matter? Let's just all agree to it. Jim Harbaugh had no idea what Connor Stalions was doing.
Fine Steeler guy.
No idea. How could you, allow this to go on without your knowledge? Because we can all play the game that Jim Harbaugh didn't know. You really think the offensive and defensive coordinator didn't know? Do you really think the players didn't know? Do you really think they just thought Connor Stalions was sitting at home with his vacuum collection, like breaking down tape and stealing signs that way? You got to be out your mind. Like, there's no way that that's the case. So I'm willing to say, hey, yeah, sure. Did Jim Harbaugh not know? Okay, let's pretend. There's no way his assistants didn't know. There's no way his players didn't know. It's just not possible that Jim Harbaugh didn't know. And the other part of this that makes it highly implausible that he was just wholly unaware, whether he filled out an expense report or not, a budget was carved out to provide financing for this sign stealing operation. I don't know. And I'm trying not to be too negative or too much of a skeptic. I just don't think it matters. And when you get reports out of Detroit saying, oh, ABC TV in Detroit is reporting that Jim Harbaugh, he may not have known because Connor Stalions never filed an expense report. What does that matter?
Well, I think what we can confidently say is Jim knew who Connor Stalions was, right?
I would agree with that.
I think we could all agree that, hey, he knew the name Connor Stalions, the human being, the person Connor Stalions. He knew who that was. And my opinion is that Jim was privy to all this information. My opinion is, Jim knew precisely what was going on. And I am a subscriber to the idea that, hey, you hadn't beaten Ohio State, your seat was getting hot, and you needed an advantage. And that, to me, was the genesis of a lot of this. Now, this development with U.S. integrity and, the FBI and the Weiss side of this and, everyone out here talking about how, they were running a gambling ring. Like, obviously, we can't go that far yet. We don't have evidence to say that, man, they were colluding with other schools to fix lines and make all that. Like, we can't say that.
Do that.
Yeah, we can't say that.
And I know a lot of other people are saying that. I think it's wildly irresponsible.
I do think, though, what we could say is that it reeks of that. It does when you start saying, okay, hey, the FBI is investigating Weiss for
for computer crimes across state lines with multiple victims.
So, okay, we're talking about a football program that plays across state lines, and you're being investigated for computer crimes across state lines. We know we have pictures of Stalions on other people's sidelines. And yes, I'm going to say that that's Connor Stalions. There was a bunch of research done on it.
So your opinion is unequivocal.
My opinion is that that's Connor Stalions on the CMU sideline.
Well, they would have said it wasn't by now. I mean, certainly if that was,
they would have said anything in addition to what their head coach said.
If that was Aunt Jenny's youngest boy who just was standing on the sidelines that day charting the color of the grass from quarter to quarter, we would have known about Aunt Jenny's boy. And I just don't see that there's any way possible that's not Connor Stalions, in my opinion.
I think it's an admission of guilt in a way, You haven't said word one. I mean, we haven't heard from.
That's a great point.
We haven't heard from Central Michigan since that
10
press
days.
conference, dude. Like you guys aren't saying word one about this. And so again, I'm going to be very clear. We cannot say they had a gambling ring.
How much trouble do you believe Michigan is in? I think it's massive. I think
this is way deeper than did Jim know or not know. This is like, hey, we've never seen, again, I guess that's the theme this week in college football based on what happened yesterday with the Pac-2 in court. We've never seen anything like that before. And with this Michigan thing, we've never seen potentially, we've never seen anything like this before where U.S. integrity is involved. The FBI is involved. You've got potentially a Michigan employee on Central Michigan's sideline. You've got, a staffer being investigated for crimes across multiple states. Like, dude, this rabbit hole goes way deeper than any of us know at this time. And if you're a Michigan fan, I'm all cool. You want to continue lying to yourself? You want to die on that hill? Be my guest. But you should be concerned about the idea that every day it seems like a new body is investigating this situation, and every day it gets a little bit darker around the big house, because that's what it seems like.
Yeah, I don't see any way, shape, or form possible that this is just no big deal. No big deal. No big deal. It's funny. People tend to conveniently have amnesia when it comes to the full scope of what is being investigated at Michigan. You understand that they have 3 serious investigations in the football department all going on right now at once, because the NCAA Committee on Infractions has not closed their book on Jim Harbaugh's COVID period shenanigans, where he allegedly met with recruits in person, watched workouts on Zoom, overworked his coaching staff. Did he deny any of that? Actually, no.
The coronavirus.
In fact, he did the exact opposite. He took a 3-game suspension for it to start this season. And the NCAA Committee on Infractions was so appalled that they said, hey, that deal we worked out with you, because they had originally, remember, and this is an important fact, they had worked out what amounts to a plea bargain. Hey, Jim, take 4 games and we'll call it even. The Committee on Infractions said, no, that's not nearly good enough. Sorry, not going to happen. Jim gave himself 3 games. The Committee on Infractions said, we'll handle this in the offseason. Okay, Oh, yeah, by the way, the FBI's on campus. They've been investigating you for a good long while now. The Matt Weiss thing, who a year ago was still on staff, and then you fired him in the wintertime. Yeah, the FBI's, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, is investigating Michigan football. Okay, I mean, we can blow that off, right? I mean,
sure. It's just the FBI. It's not a
Jimmy.
Big deal.
It's Captain America. It's Jimbo, the Jimmer.
I mean, this is America's team, man.
That'd be America's team.
Yeah, you can't blow that off. And now you've got sign stealer guy. And you've got this whole cheating investigation where the Big Ten now has suspended Jim Harbaugh for 3 games. The NCAA is involved. U.S. integrity is involved.
Dude, you should be concerned that the punishment is going to be steep in the offseason. I mean, you're the least of your problems is whether you beat Ohio State or not at this point. I mean, hell, it may be worse if you do beat Ohio State now. People are going to question that win now. I mean, there's no way around that.
I think at a minimum, you are looking at massive penalties in scholarship reductions, vacating of wins, which I think is toothless. I think it's not lost on anybody that this weekend could potentially be the 1,000th win in the history of Michigan football with Jim Harbaugh suspended. Because had he coached, this is the other thing, all the Michigonians, what did we decide it with Michiganders?
Michiganders.
The Yoopers. Hey, Yoopers. Upper Peninsula. The Michigan Wolverine fan base conveniently forgets this. You remember our good friend Joe Pa, right? And the wins that were vacated and then restored. And if Jim Harbaugh coaches this weekend, there's a good chance that win's going to be vacated. So I would take the 3-day. Note, I didn't say 3-game. I said 3-day suspension and go on about your business. But instead, Friday morning, we're going to have a court hearing.
That's one that I'll never understand. Why Michigan has taken the strategy of, yeah, we're going to blow this up as much as we can, and we're going to insult people, and we're going to try and play hardball, and like we're going to, ask for a restraining order, and we're going to do all this excessive extra stuff, or as the cool kids say, we're going to be sus about it. I don't understand.
Be sus about it.
I don't understand that strategy. What did you think that was going to get you? Because if you get laughed out of court on Friday, you're left in no man's land. You're left to go along for the ride and take your medicine. And unfortunately, I think you're already in that position, because whether you get this restraining order or not, the NCAA is going to do something about this. Because my opinion is the NCAA doesn't have an option here. You force their hand at this point with everything that you've done, and we don't even know how deep it goes.
Well, what's interesting is you use the word sus. More sus, Michigan cheating or you cheating at virtual golf?
You are fake.
The Monty Show, presented by our good friends. You're just going to let that go. Presented by our good friends at BuckedUp Energy, the official energy provider of the Monty Show. Now, if you were not here yesterday and you did not get to take advantage of the early Black Friday sale with our unique promo code yesterday, guess what? It is now open to the public, and all you have to do is use promo code SPORTS50. Go get yourself some buckshot, although this morning I know they were trying to restock it at BuckedUp.com because we sold it out yesterday. But I'll tell you, you want to know the best part about this? I ordered, I think, yesterday morning at midnight. I set an alarm on my phone because it sells out so fast. I got the package today. BuckedUp already delivered my order. I had an order that was valued at $470. And my order, I think, totaled at $254. So with tax, expedited shipping, $254. I got 4 boxes of buckshot, like endurance. I got some, obviously, I doubled up on creatine, like all this great stuff. Everything at BuckedUp.com right now, 50% off. Their energy drinks, their buckshot, their proteins, their pre-workouts, you name it, it's 50% off. So in their honor, every day we hit a buckshot on the show, 200 milligrams of naturally sourced caffeine with a bunch of brain food. It's elite ingredients that make an elite product that does exactly what it says it's going to do. Power you through the rest of your day. That report you got to do, the pivot table, the conference call, the big sales pitch, hit a buckshot and be the best version of yourself. Yes, sir. Love that watermelon. I don't know, watermelon or blue raz? The blue raz is pretty fire.
Blue raz is pretty good, but watermelon's my goat.
And as we did yesterday, OG Gary won a $25 Amazon gift card. Why don't we do it again today? You use the promo code SPORTS50. Take a screenshot of your order. We'll give one lucky listener not named OG Gary a $25 Amazon gift card just because you submitted an order at BuckedUp.com using the promo code SPORTS50. Hook it up. BuckedUp.com, screenshot, DM it to Jake, DM it to me. I'm the Monty Show, Monty, the Monty Show, or you can send it to Jake, SLC Jake, the guy who cheats at virtual golf, SLC Jake on Twitter or Instagram. No defense of oneself.
I'm not playing your games.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I don't know anything about that. Those reports are not accurate. That report's not accurate about my situation.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to vacate the trees you killed in virtual golf today.
Whatever.
Hero 75 for $5. I can't help but wonder what would happen if on Friday the judge rules against Michigan, and what bombshell will the Big Ten NCAA bring out in their case? It's going to be really interesting because, again, I think the thing that I was so, I don't know, fortified by, I was relieved by the Big Ten pointing out, hey, Michigan, I watched the Monty Show and they made a really good point.
You know, I
believe they mentioned us in their response.
I
could
be
wrong. You guys haven't denied the cheating operation. You've simply deflected and blamed others. And I think that's the thing that you're not getting away from. You're asking for a temporary restraining order to prevent this suspension from going through. Yet you're not denying the actions that were taken that brought you to a 3-game suspension. I don't know that that's going to sit well with a judge. That's like saying, that's like your mom, like being like, clean your room. And you saying, well, my sister didn't clean her room. And so your mom smacks you in the face and says, I don't care about your sister. I'm talking about you. Hey, I want a Nintendo. Well, I'm not getting you a Nintendo, but Jimmy down the street has one.
I want it.
What's your mom going to say? Well, I'm not Jimmy's mom. If you want that Nintendo, go live at his house. Well, that's just what my mom used to say. But
Even
anyway,
if you'd like to be.
Yeah, the point is, what's a judge going to say when Michigan's like, no, we don't deny it. We don't deny it.
The judge is going to say, why are we here then?
Lady, have you watched the last 2 Ohio State games? We kicked the crap out of them. Deny it? No. Deny what? Out your goddamn mind.
Me?
That's what I think. But Hero, I think it's a very interesting point.
I agree. Bombshells coming out as part of Discovery and as part of opening statements and everything. That's a real risk you run if you're Michigan. You are messing with the bull, and you're gonna get the horns. And at some point, regret will set in for this program.
Yes, it will. David Bowling, they caught gambling cheating. I don't know about that. I'm not going to, at any point in time, until there is hard evidence that gambling is involved in this scandal. And yes, I understand U.S. integrity is involved. I get it. That does not mean that Michigan, the FBI, the NCAA, the Big Ten, that does not mean that there is evidence that Matt Weiss or anybody else was involved in point shaving, making sure that you covered the spread or didn't cover the spread. Like, there is no evidence of that. And I am not the guy that, if you're here to talk about how much Michigan gambled on computers, you're on the wrong show. I think it's wholly irresponsible.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that you're quickly heading that direction, though. We can't definitively say that's what's going on.
No, you can't.
However, I do think you can say, A plus B plus C equals this. The smoke here indicates a roaring fire behind the scenes of something related to gambling. Now, I think it's totally irresponsible to accuse Michigan of as an institution of anything. I am of the opinion that I think this was the football program doing nefarious things to get wins. And then I think at the end of the day, when it started to come out, the university was like, football program did something. We need to get going here. And now all of a sudden Michigan's like, hey, we need to defend our guy to the death, because what choice do we really have?
Well, and I also think if you look at what's really going to get Jim Harbaugh, because if he gets fired or resigns, he pretty much walks away from this. Now, will there be a show cause? Almost certainly. But what's going to get Jim Harbaugh is if he's fired for cause, which I think the academics at Michigan will very much like to see, because Jim Harbaugh, and I, in my opinion, saw this in San Francisco and at Stanford. He's not a popular guy. He's not somebody that's the most popular dude on campus. He's not somebody that plays well with others. And I think what's interesting is, if it is true what we hear, that some of the staff and faculty at Michigan believe this scandal is a black eye on the university, that's what will get Jim Harbaugh. If he loses support inside the walls of Michigan, then it's going to be awfully difficult, for Ward Manuel and President Ono to defend Jim Harbaugh, because they have people they answer to as well. Just because you're the top dog doesn't mean you don't answer to somebody.
I think that Jim is also, like, in these situations, if you're liked around campus and you have a lot of friends and, you're everyone's All-American, I think that people are willing to do a lot more for you. Ward
Certainly.
Manuel, like, you guys remember the conversation we were having last week where Michigan goes, we had no idea about, the status of the suspension that the Big Ten was handing down. And then
I don't believe you.
And then what do we get out of Jim? we get, oh, actually, we did know about it on the plane. We found out on social media. And that to me was all a bunch of crap. And my point with this is that when you play the media that way and you continue to play this game and you continue to have questions raised about your institution and the program itself, people are not going to be big fans of you, because let's learn the lesson from the Pac-12 situation.
Seriously.
Academia doesn't give a damn about athletics.
They don't care.
Don't care. All they care about is the chalkboard in their classroom.
You know what they care
endowment.
about? They care about their little mixers with their friends who are also Pulitzer Prize winners or legal scholars. And
Jimmy over there's got a $5,000 suit on. Check mine out, bro.
They want to stand in their libraries with their glasses of scotch and the wood paneling and their sweater vests and their tweed jackets.
Yes.
They want to sip their $1,000 glasses of scotch and talk about how amazing Michigan is. And, Sally and I are going to the game tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. She's got a really nice, Vuitton blanket that's going to keep us warm. Like, that's what they want to do. They don't, but you guys are cheaters, aren't you? What?
Cheating, lying, and then playing the victim.
How dare you? I am an ethical person.
Me?
Can I have more scotch? Like that.
That's what it is.
That's who you're dealing with, man. Like these.
So if you're Jim Harbaugh and you're pissing these people off who didn't give a damn about football in the first place, they just went because all their friends were going. They don't know XYZ banana or, whether you should kick it on the 40 or go for it on 4th and 3. They have no idea. They've never heard of a zone blocking scheme on the offensive line. They don't give a damn about Blake Corum's, vacuum business with Connor Stallions that he denied and nothing has happened yet. They don't care about any of this. You know what academia thinks of this? Only what they hear from their academia friends, which is, guys, did you hear that? There's something going on in the football program. They stole signs or something, but everybody does that. And, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, we need to fire Jim, or he's going to leave at the end of the, we'll find someone else. It's fine.
It's football. We can,
Who cares?
we can have football coaches.
That's what academia does, dude. They're just concerned about their little mixers and telling you how much they know.
That's football.
And so to me,
meatheads,
if you're Jim Harbaugh, you want academia on your side, not the other way around.
You don't even chuckle at my academia voice. Meatheads. We'll just hire another football coach. I heard that Mel Tucker's amazing.
Hiscock.
Okay, I should stop. Weiss's Bookie Services.
Well, okay, here we go.
For $5. It's being reported 50 plus hours of, I have not seen that being reported. OSU practice film was on multiple Michigan computers, cloud files. If proven out, the rabbit hole just got deeper. Yeah, I think reported is a very, I have not seen that report. If you'd like to pass it on, I have not seen it. But if you are stealing practice video or somebody's giving it to you, that's a different thing. But see, here's the problem. Ohio State has been one of the leading providers of complete BS in this story. And the fact that your former wide receiver coach and domestic violence guy started the whole, hey, Ryan Day's brother in Michigan ran with it, that's your fault. And then you wanted to play the victim. Ohio State, with all due respect, I do believe Ohio State is the victim, but now you're victimizing yourself and you're causing more problems than it's worth, because I don't for a moment believe that, somehow sign stealer guy was at Ohio State practice. I'm not willing to go that far. I am not. OG Gary, hold up. You're gonna Michigan me and make me ineligible for the competition. I mean, I've got to be America's Gary. Got to be America's Gary.
Well, be America's team.
I mean, you're America's Gary for certain.
Dude, are you the iron wall that viruses break on? Are you a red apple guy or a green apple guy? I need to know before I can, reinstate you into the competition.
I mean, listen, I'll give another $25 Amazon gift card away if you want to go into a BuckedUp store in the state of Utah and say, hey, I heard about you on the Monty Show. They think you guys are amazing. You are amazing because you support the Monty Show. Now I'm going to buy something. Give me my free energy drink with purchase.
I want it.
Now, if you want to record that, if you want to take a picture of yourself in the Bucked Up store near you,
Yeah, take a video or a picture.
I'm happy to do it.
Upload it to the cloud, and then we'll go ahead and get Weiss on the horn, and he can access the cloud from his side,
Weiss
and we'll see what it is.
We'll get Weiss on the horn.
Yeah.
You know.
Please.
Wow. Okay. Ryan Willie for $10. Michigan thinks that they're above the law and everyone else can kiss their butts.
Mm-hmm.
This Wisconsin fan wants the NCAA to bring the hammer down on Michigan. I think the NCAA is looking for a bigger hammer. Frankly, I think that. How do you not? Again, you guys, anytime you run, because there's a lot of a-hole Michigan fans.
Yeah, you can say that 10 times.
I mean, it's wild. So I have just gone to the standard response. Hey, that might be true that Jim didn't know, but by the way, the FBI is on campus investigating your program. And they never. It's funny, they don't seem to reply to that. I don't know if it hurts their feelings
Via social media.
You know, like I had a guy in our YouTube comments last night who's like, "You guys are ass clowns." Jim Harbaugh had no idea. And
Captain America is innocent.
And I said, yeah, you're probably right, but the FBI's on campus. Your thoughts? Never answered.
What?
And it's amazing when you drop the three letters FB and I next to each other and you put them in front of Michigan fans, they're like,
doesn't stand for football information, sir.
It's funny. FBI apparently is Latin for mute button with Michigan fan because they just don't.
So-called experts.
You know, the Chris D, they'll be the first team to 1,000 wins twice. It's an amazing feat.
Yeah.
It is an amazing feat. Jim Choi, a member of the program. Harbaugh in Michigan, a lack of institutional control times 100.
No redos.
I'm telling you, the Committee on Infractions is like, oh, we're not going to rule you. You know there's another scandal coming from Michigan. We need a bigger hammer. All right, let's go over the budget, fiscal year 2024. Committee on Infractions, you're first. Yeah, we'd like an extra $7 million for a bigger hammer to drop on Michigan. Approved. Next. Like, how do you say no to that?
You don't.
Michigan is radioactive. It is.
Well, and I think for Jim, you know, once he moves on after the season, which, you know, I think he's going to one way or the other, I think he's radioactive at that point. I think even for the NFL, you know, all jokes aside,
it's going to be a minute before he gets a job.
Yeah, and I think if I'm Jim, I want to just go and chill wherever Jim Harbaugh chills. Stop putting your brother in a position where he's got to say he's proud of you, even though it's an awkward thing to say right now. Stop doing that to your own family, man. Get your ass out of the public eye and chill on the couch. Go hang out at your house on 1,000 acres and just do what you do. That's all we're asking, Jim, because ultimately you've put your own university in danger.
Yeah.
Whether you knew or didn't know.
Serious danger.
You've brought shame unto yourself. You have brought shame unto any player involved in this 2015 forward. And I think ultimately, I'm just not willing to say that Jim is ethical, because one way or the other, this happened under his watch. And yeah, does it make it feel a little better if he didn't know? I guess, because at least then you can say, well, you know, Jim isn't the one, you know, trying to cheat anybody. This all happened under coordinators and down. Okay, fine. If you want to feel better about it because of that, that's fine. I'm sitting here saying it happened in his program one way or the other, and it seemingly doesn't happen under Kirby or Nick or Dabo or Mike Norvell or anybody, dude.
And look at End Donuts. Exactly right, End Donuts. Michigan is now synonymous with cheating. It is written. And this is a stank that is going to be on the walls of your bathroom for some time, because there's no getting away from this, dude. Like, you can Febreze the hell out of that thing. It's not going away.
Yeah, you can get your Swiffer out and it ain't cleaning it up, dude, man.
And I think Michigan fans don't realize this. You're never getting away from this. Not in our lifetimes. This is, I think Art Briles is an interesting name. Paterno, Sandusky, Pervin Liar. Like, there's
those guys are only now starting to fade. I mean, folks Like I would say, 30-year-old millennial knows those guys, knows those names, knows the scandals,
Right.
knows what happened.
But if you think about the biggest scandals, the point shavers, or just think about the biggest scandals in the history of college sports, Duke lacrosse or any of it. I say to you Duke lacrosse and you're like, oh. I say to you Paterno. Oh. Art Briles on the field at Oklahoma. What the like Jim Harbaugh when he was at Michigan. Oh, cheater.
The art thing might be the best example because wasn't he was cleared or whatever of knowing or whatever.
In court, they said he was he was found not responsible.
And you know what the problem with that is? Nobody gives a damn.
No, because it's OJ. He killed him.
Yes.
Oh, OJ was found not guilty? Well, great. Let's get on Twitter. Excuse me. X and figure out what OJ has to say about. Like, I love that OJ is on X talking about how Ken Dorsey was fired by the Bills and offering his suggestions for, you murdered them, Oj. You murdered him. No, he didn't. He was found not guilty. Yeah, he did.
Hey, Oj, I don't give a damn if the glove fit or not. You did it.
Right? Like,
you did it.
If you think about, when you hear the word buyout, who do you think about now? Jimbo Fisher. The biggest cash heist ever. Jimbo Fisher.
Sorry, Mel Tucker. Jimbo outdid you.
Jim Rome today was talking about, or wait, maybe it was Colin. I don't know. I was listening to terrible sports talk today.
It's all garbage, dude.
One of them was talking about the fact that the largest cash heist in the history of America was $18 million until Jimbo got fired. He got $76 million.
I'm for real.
When you think buyout, you think Texas A&M sucks. When you think, well, dead waiter and his mistress, you think OJ, right? When you think cheating scandals in college, you think Jim Harbaugh, because he's not guilty yet, but he's guilty already, because that's just the way the world works.
Facts.
Michigan is synonymous with cheating. They're never getting away from it. Blake Corum forever. You are a vacuum salesman, sir. Congratulations. I got people sending me Blake Corum's father, his testimony from his bankruptcy trial. Like 20 people have sent me that now. Like, Blake Corum, you're a disgrace now because you sell vacuums with the guy who never turned in an expense report at Michigan. Congratulations.
Can I get a price on a used Dyson, sir?
Hey, man, Shark or Dyson? Blake Corum, your thoughts? Like, can you help me out? I got a shag carpet. But, right. I got a shag carpet. Can I use a Dyson rollerball?
Yeah, next question.
Okay, well, how about this? I've just got some construction grade piles stacked like in my basement. I need a putting green. Is it, and I'm just curious, is a Sharknado vacuum going to handle that? Or do I really need to go back to, I don't remember, what are some vacuum brands? Because all I got is Shark and
let's
Dyson.
see. Okay.
I just need to know, canister or bag, bro? Do I need a vacuum bag anymore? I mean, are we EV battery?
Bissell.
Okay, well, like my dog took a crap on the rug, Bissell, or can I just run the Shark over it and hope for the best? Blake Corum, your thoughts?
Samsung.
Samsung doesn't make a
Yes, they do.
Well, screw them if they do.
It's a smart vacuum.
All right, we're past it.
Eureka.
Eureka. No. Youpers are above the Mackey AW bridge. Okay. Hey, man. I love it.
Oh, what are you talking about, man?
I that's amazing. Steve Buckholz. They won't have 1,000 wins when the NCAA takes away all their wins for 2021, 2022, 2023. Hey, Blake, I'm just curious. When you when you heard that you were on Connor Stalions LLC and it was, wire fraud and a federal crime, did you use the Bissell to clean up the locker room floor that you crapped on when you heard about this news?
Is that a real question?
Or was it a Eureka? I'm just saying. Here's a question. Is it a special benefit? Is it against NCAA rules if Connor Stalions happened to have given you, one of those Shark little robot vacuums? Because we all know.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Look here. Well, Balake, I'm going to need an answer because you guys got Maryland this weekend. And
pardon me,
Oh my God. James Knight says, thanks for the math lesson. I don't know what you mean. Lopes fan Gabe, did Monty and Two Holes go hit up Jay Toffer or what?
Yeah,
Looking
you're
sharp,
damn
boys.
right we did.
That's right.
You're
Jay
damn
Toffer,
right we did.
the best barber in the business.
I want the best people.
And he is. Jeff Woodworth, cocaine's a hell of a drug. I've heard that.
Yeah, man.
I've heard that.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
OG Gary, at this point, I'm waiting for Michigan to get PSU'd worse than PSU. Now, here's the other thing, by the way. You guys understand that the death penalty is not a thing. There's no more such thing as you won't play football games for 5 years.
It's not fucking real.
That's
Right?
yeah. People are like, oh, SMU these bitches. And it's like, no, dude.
Tarrant County.
Settle down. Settle down, Dallas. Settle down.
We know you paid your way into the ACC, but look.
We're going to need you to relax. Okay. The death penalty is no longer a thing in college, just so people are aware.
This is the first time, though, I think that the NCAA has been faced with, what would have been a death penalty level situation. I don't think we've seen or had any type of opportunity to discipline a program at this
I would agree
level
with that. I would absolutely agree with
since
that.
the death penalty days.
Glenn, San Diego State Aztec. What's up, Glenn, for $2? The big house now has a whole new connotation. Hey, where's Jim? Oh, he's doing a nickel upstate at the big house. Doesn't Ohio State call it that team up north? Hey, where's Harbaugh? Oh, he's TTU in the big house, nickel upstate. Remember that cheating scandal?
Don't you know who I am?
I love that people. I saw on Twitter the other day, somebody was like doing the Hillary lock him up thing. It's like, do you guys understand nothing Jim Harbaugh's done is a criminal offense, right? Or at least that we know of.
So I said, yeah.
I mean, the fact that fans are defending him is probably a criminal offense, but I should move on. Let's see. Irick. Is that a vacuum name, Irick? No, me, you team, Irick. Okay. Does the Stallions Quorum vacuum get rich scheme fall under the NCAA realm of investigation?
Sign stealer guy.
It is against NCAA regulations for a coach and his player to be financially invested in one another.
But Balake said they weren't involved.
Blake, that's Blake. Balake.
Blake.
I think it is. I think it is highly unlikely. The Blake Corum thing, you guys, I will be honest with you, it blows my mind. Your name is on the LLC formation papers. And you're truly going to sit here and tell me, oh, yeah, I had no idea, bro. I mean, I had no idea. And I just want to say, thanks to the people who brought out the step stool so I could be eye level with you guys. And
what are you, Kyler Murray?
He is not a big dude. But I just want to say, thank you, sir, to the person who outed him.
A contract sort of surfaced on social media tonight that's linking you with Connor. Is what?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. My first time hearing it was when I went out to practice. And first of all, I have no businesses with him. I don't have any business with Connor, anything like that. But I'm glad whoever found it, whoever was searching the web was able to find that. I appreciate you.
Us little people were heading out to practice, and Coach Harbaugh pulled me over and said, hey, bro, did you get the signs for this week's game?
Hey, look here, man.
I know you guys are in business together on this vacuum shit. Did he happen to give you the signs for Maryland? That probably didn't happen. I mean, that's just, it could have happened that way.
And stuff.
But I doubt it.
Vacuums are my thing.
Yeah, how about the fact that in that press conference, he's like, nah, bro, vacuums are my thing. But wait a minute. I think it's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
It is incredibly cringe. It is incredibly, it reeks of guilt, man.
I mean, because what this reduces Connor Stallions to, and if you're just tuning in, ABC TV in Detroit, and thank you to Melissa. I got like 10 people sent it to me, but Melissa's the first one, and I like to give credit.
Thank you to whoever found this. Thank you.
Melissa, I believe, is the first one who sent it to me. And ABC TV in Detroit is reporting that Connor Stallions never turned in an an expense report in his time at Michigan. With the obvious inference, Jim Harbaugh didn't know he's innocent. Free Harbaugh. Doesn't matter if he knew. He's guilty by association. But how does that explain the budget that was unearthed on Michigan computers for the sign stealer guy? And Michigan has not denied that. I would again.
Michigan hasn't denied anything.
I would again remind you, Michigan has not denied that. I mean, I'm just saying, Michigan has not denied that.
You would think that Michigan would have a whole strategy to use the proper verbiage to legally and safely deny all of these allegations without technically denying them. You would think that legalese department at Michigan is robust. Yet here we are, and you haven't denied anything. And you're going to have this hearing on Friday, and I guarantee you, you're going to get asked, did this stuff happen? You're going to get asked questions you don't want answers to. It's what I always say to you, bro. Hey, don't ask me questions you don't want answers to, sir. If you don't want to know about it, why, don't ask me X. That's the issue here. You're going to this hearing, and guys like Jim Harbaugh are going to ride in there wearing their Captain America Michigan branded suit. And then you're going to get knocked down a few rungs. And I'm telling you, there's no way. I can't. It's my opinion that there's no way you're going to win that temporary restraining order. Again, we're going to get to this Pac-2 thing here in a few minutes. Dude, if they go in there and they don't have a strong-ass strategy and story to tell, you're not winning this hearing. And I don't care who you are.
Okay, so if you're Michigan, what is your strategy? Because as I said yesterday, and there is a breaking news update on this Pac-2 thing we'll get to in a minute. But as I said yesterday, like on the Pac-12 thing, the exiting 10 members had no strategy when they walked into court. Now, I watch suits. I know you got to have a strategy, right? So if I were Harvey Specter and I were representing Michigan, I would go in there and I would say there is no evidence to our knowledge that Jim Harbaugh was directly involved in this case. To which, and I would bait Michigan, and I would say, the Big Ten's response would be, I'd bait the Big Ten. The Big Ten's response would be, well, we didn't punish Jim Harbaugh. We punished Michigan by suspending Jim Harbaugh. To which then my answer would be, my client, Coach Harbaugh, does not deserve this action at this time because there is no evidence directly linking him to this scandal. That's the argument I would make.
It's a great angle.
I would not make the argument that we didn't do it because you did it. We all know
it's like saying you didn't leave a conference when you've got a Big Ten schedule rolling out.
We know you did it. Dummy.
I mean, come on.
So you can't argue you didn't do it. But what I would be arguing if I was Jim Harbaugh's attorney who copied, you guys know that, right? Jim Harbaugh's attorney copied directly from a Michigan fan blog into his response.
We did what we did.
Here's the Michigan fan blog right here, right? Like you cannot make this up.
Can't make it up.
Here is the Michigan fan blog right here. Here is Jim Harbaugh's lawyer's response.
Just word for word right off the blog.
Word for word. The only thing that's changed is the specific rules. Notice it says the provision. Here it says Rule 32222 is unambiguous. The provision is unambiguous. Like, this is his high-powered attorney.
They're casual.
I would be arguing that this punishment and penalty against Michigan is unjust to my client, and we ask that you stay this punishment against my client. I would not ask that you do not punish, that the Big Ten is not allowed. I would not be arguing what the Big Ten is allowed to do to Michigan. I am simply here, Harvey Specter. I star in Suits. You may have heard of me, Harvard lawyer, better looking than you. I am here to argue that my client, Jim Harbaugh, is being unjustly targeted and is being used to be scapegoated for something that his university, his employer did, which is fundamentally unjust against my client.
Andy is my friend.
And I ask that you put a restraining order in place to lift this punishment so that my client can go about his business as the head football coach at Michigan. Thank you, Your Honor. That's the argument I would be using.
I think it's the only argument you can make.
Now, I'm not sitting here wearing a $1,000 suit. I mean, I have on a pretty nice pair of,
Yeah, but where are your khakis, dude?
You know,
Where are your
I ain't got no
khakis?
$1,000 suit on. But I'm here making an argument.
I want you to listen to me.
And what you have to do in these situations in court, you have to make the judge think. Well, is there legal precedent for that? Well, if there, and I don't know the answer to that, I would have the precedent, but I would say we are in a hearing over a temporary restraining order. We have asked you to place a temporary restraining order on this suspension, and I am not here, and I think this is a really important point. Notice that Jim Harbaugh's attorney is not the same attorney for Michigan. Jim Harbaugh is represented separately and individually in this hearing on Friday. And my suspicion is his attorney is going to argue, because the language, and this is what I think Jim Harbaugh's win in this situation is. He ain't going to win shit, but I think his chance to win,
Like, for instance,
is the Big Ten in their writings and in their documentation says that they are punishing Michigan, who is my client's employer, punishing my client because of something his employer was involved in is wholly unjust. And Your Honor, there is no evidence directly linking my client to these allegations. And I ask Your Honor to stay this suspension and allow my client to go back to work.
Hell no.
That's going to be what the judge is going to say. But that's where I'd be arguing.
Yeah, that's the argument you got to make.
I would not be arguing, oh, this is due process. It's not a legal case, sir. It is
due process.
Due process has nothing to, it's
Got to be America's team.